On today's episode of Andy and Ari on 3, your questions answered. Our friend Dylan asks, are we sure that Oregon quarterback Dante Moore is making the right decision by not going into the NFL draft and coming back for another year with the Ducks? Plus, our friend Jeff has a question about North Dakota State and the NCAA rule that bans schools that are moving up a level from playing in the postseason for 2 years. Also, our friend Matt has a great random ranking for us, and Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss granted an injunction that should make him eligible to play in 2026. He took the NCAA on in court in Mississippi on Thursday, and Trinidad Chambliss came out the victor. We break that decision down and talk about what it means for other potential decisions like that, including Joey Aguilar, who has a hearing scheduled today against the NCAA in Knoxville. We talk about it all on today's Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. We are presented by BetMGM. We use BetMGM lines, totals, and futures on this here show. And if you're not signed up for BetMGM, now is the time, because if you sign up using the bonus code ON3, you can get up to a $1,500 new player offer plus 50% off an annual subscription to the On3 College Sports Network. Here's how that works. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up using the code ON3. That's the letter O, the letter N, and the number 3. Deposit at least $10 in your account and place your first wager on any game. You receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses, and you'll get a code for 50% off an annual subscription to the On3 Sports Network. It'll appear in your inbox once your first bet is placed. Just make sure you use the code ON3 when you sign up. And if you're already signed up, we're taking care of you too. Got a college basketball odds boost token running from February 9th. That's Monday through Valentine's Day, February 14th. No matter the matchup, betting with boosted odds makes every basket mean more. Activate your odds boost token for any college basketball bet, and you will receive a bigger payout if your bet wins. Also, starting February 11th, that's Wednesday, running through Valentine's Day, a Winter Games hockey odds boost token. The world's greatest hockey players are set to face off on the global stage, so join the excitement and make your Winter Games moment when you bet with boosted odds. That's all at BetMGM this week. You know how to do it. Sign up using the code ON3 and then make it legendary with BetMGM. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM. Ari, we are not going to hold for the Joey Aguilar ruling. We thought about doing that for Trinidad Chambliss, and we're like, this could take a while. And in fact, it did take a while. The judge was reading the ruling for roughly an hour after multiple hours of hearing. So the Joey Aguilar case in Tennessee is happening. When there is a result to talk about, we will break into regular programming.
Feels good to get one done.
Yeah.
See what the other one does.
We will. So Trinidad Chambliss coming back. So obviously, all of you guys who did quarterback rankings this week, suckers, you left him off.
You know what I can't wait
that list
is when Trinidad Chambliss wins the Heisman Trophy, people will resurface this list and be like, look at this asshole, didn't even have him in the top 10.
Yeah. You'll be like, check the date. Look at the date.
No context for it. But, hey, you don't make these lists without at least anticipating there's a high likelihood that you will get dunked on in the future. And part of our job is being dunked on. So right. I'll let you have it. And if you put him in the top 5 and he stinks, then you could get dunked on. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to stink. I think he's track record suggests he's going to be all right. Another quarterback who did make your list is the subject of our first Dear Ari and Dear Andy question from Dylan. So Dante Moore, number 2 on your list, the Oregon quarterback who could have been maybe number 2 in the NFL draft this year had he made a different decision. So our friend Dylan asks us this question. How do we know Dante Moore is making the right choice by staying? What if he's just has a meh year like Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller this past season? Then he could fall to day 3 of the draft and go to a team where he'll never start or get a real shot. If he went in the draft this year, sure, he might get stuck with the Jets, but at least he'd be a starter, their future QB, and in the event that things went south there, he'd had the Sam Darnold / Baker Mayfield route to fall back on to prove himself. If Oregon goes 7-5 this year and he has Klubnik level year doing it, he might end up being the backup for the Chiefs and just might be a backup his whole rookie contract. And at that point, a 5th-year breakout is unlikely. Again, just curious on your input. Thanks. Okay, Dylan, here's my thing about this. 1 full year of Dante Moore as a starter is already better than any of the full years we saw of Cade Klubnik or Drew Aller as college starters. And you mentioned a couple people in your question, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, who were not initially successful in the NFL, though I would argue that Baker Mayfield taking the Browns to the playoffs and winning a playoff game as a Cleveland Browns quarterback is somewhat successful. But they did get better later in their careers, a few stops down the road. Ari, what does Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield have in common that Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller do not have in common with them?
They were both awesome in college.
Yes, they were both really good college quarterbacks. Cade Klubnik and Drew Aller were not really good college quarterbacks, despite the fact that idiots like me overhyped them before last season. For Cade Klubnik, he had that pretty good finish to 2024, and we thought that meant this is how it is from now on. But he kind of regressed and looked basically in 25 the way he did for most of his time as the starter. Drew Aller, I think we kept hoping the traits would kick in. Now, he got hurt, but it didn't look that different before he got hurt. So I think that's the situation with those guys. Like Dante Moore has already done more than either of them. Dante Moore was awesome last year most of the time. He had down games, and obviously the last one against Indiana was very bad. But for the most part, he was a highly productive quarterback, and he was only in his first year as a starter. And I think, you look at his decision and you talk to people, and he basically came to the conclusion that if I want to be a good NFL quarterback, the more snaps I can get as a college starter, the better off I'll be.
Yeah, and I think that there's another aspect of this conversation that has to be taken into account. And that is who is also in your draft class. Mm-hmm. So if you are one of the people who said Dante should have gone because he would have been a top 5 pick most likely this year because there aren't a lot of other quarterbacks that are highly coveted in the same way that they will be next year, I think you have a point there. Like, because next year Arch is going to be eligible and will probably go. I can't imagine him coming back after next year. Lenore Sellers is going to be out there. I mean, the whole list of quarterbacks out there, Trinidad Chambliss is going to be in that mix. Like, I don't know who I'm forgetting, but I'm sure there's others that.
But the thing is, we thought this time last year that it would be a very deep quarterback class, and it's not. We don't know that it will be a deep quarterback class next year. I will tell you who also agrees that the decision to come back was a good one. Our pal Kirk Herbstreit. He was on with Crain and Cone, our new show at On 3, earlier this week, and he talked about Dante Moore.
I think Dante Moore's decision to come back was, I don't know who advised him, but I think that was a great decision. It would have been very easy for him to get kind of caught up in, hey, I could be the first pick overall. I think at this position, what I've learned over the years is repetitions really matter.
That's right. Reps. Now, I think Bo Nix is a good example of this. You saw Bo Nix, and the Bo Nix who left Auburn probably would not have been the kind of starting quarterback that current Bo Nix, after 2 more years as a starter at Oregon, was when he got to the Broncos. And I think Dante Moore, who made so he made a playing time decision when he flipped away from Oregon and went to UCLA out of high school, realized after playing a little bit as a true freshman, hey, I probably needed a little more seasoning. So he's already seen the example of that once. And I think that's the case. And the thing is, like, it also maybe he's just avoiding the Jets. Because if you have a first round grade from scouts, you're as a quarterback specifically, you are going to be picked probably in the first half of the first round, regardless of whether there's other quarterbacks that are as good or better than you. Like, think about the year Bo Nix came out, Ari. Weren't there 6 quarterbacks taken in like the top 13 picks?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a great quarterback, you're going to be taken in the first round with that grade. That's a good point. And the other point of that is, too, that for all the jokes that we make about trying to avoid the Jets, like, there's a chance that you might not be the second quarterback off the board next year, but you still might be a first rounder and you still might fall to maybe number 13 and end up at a competent franchise that props you up for success in your career. When I think there's something to that. Like, there are older quarterbacks at franchises that, I mean, how many years does Matthew Stafford have left? Like, right. What if the Rams are picking at 17 and they pick Dante Moore at 17? Now, he might cost himself some money by not going out last year, but he might make it up on the back end by having a more successful and prolonged career. The thing that I think is the only risk here, and it goes without saying, is injury. If he has the same exact year next year as he did this past year, he will still have a first round grade and he will still be a player that goes into the draft in a very good position. So he's also going to be making a ton of money in college. He's not costing himself a ton of money, and he might play himself into being more NFL ready at a better franchise and more reps, like you said. I think that, like, really the risk reward here, like, there is some risk, but I don't think that it's as dire as it would be if you decided to do this in 2009. Like, now that you can be compensated in college, I think there's a hell of a lot more upside. And like you said, these quarterback lists were so much harder to do last year because we were speculating on Drew Aller's, traits and Cade Klubnik's last few games where he ran down the sideline for 80-yard touchdowns, and it wasn't necessarily
DJ Lagway's LSU and Ole Miss games, and not a whole body of work. Yeah,
we have an entire season that already has shown that Dante Moore is a prolific and productive college quarterback, and Evan Stewart's coming back next year. They're going to have a really good team again. Like, they're going to be really good. I find it to be very hard to believe that he won't at least be able to match the production that he had this past year, and thus don't think that the floor of him coming back, even if something bad happens, is really all that different. So I think it's a good decision. I'm excited to watch him.
Looking at your list, Kirk did say something to Jake and Blaine and David that I think you're going to like about number 1 on your list.
So Julian saying 5, CJ Carr 4, Darian Mintz 3, Gunnar Stockton 2, Dante Moore 1, Kirk Herbstreit. What say you? It's perfect, right?
Oh, it's absolutely perfect.
Great. I appreciate you having you on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I at least you were able to get Arch Manning a mention. I just think he's been through tough, like, stretch where the expectations were almost unfair. And a lot of it was his own doing. He felt the tension that it affected him. But when you're going into a season, it's like he's better than both his uncles. He's better than his grandpa. It's like every throw had to be, whoa, did you see that? And I think he lived it. He experienced it. He survived it. I'll be shocked when the dust settles if he's not the guy in the class.
How you feeling?
Feel pretty good about it. I agree with him.
I'm going to enjoy putting that GoPro on my head, running ahead of you if you're both wrong, though.
I think we'll know probably by mid-October whether I need to start training or not. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I do think that he, like it or not, is the prototypical type of quarterback that franchises like to build around. He has elite size. He's very athletic. Obviously, he had some accuracy issues at times last year, but I thought they improved. And, I wonder if playing behind an offensive line that had to, take their lumps for a large portion of the year only to get better, and then he got more comfortable in the bowl game, is going to serve him quite well. Not to mention that we're now adding in a potential first-round draft pick at receiver to the roster. Like, I find it to be a pretty easy layup. And I know that the thing with Arch Manning that a lot of people, resent, but, cannot be ignored is his last name. And you can bet your sweet ass, Andy, that his last name is going to take into account when people are evaluating him in those pre-draft discussions, and his pedigree and his family and where he came from and how he learned the game and how he approached his college career. All those things are going to come out as net positives for him. I think if he has a really good year, he will be the number 1 pick next year.
I also think he's not going to get the kind of hype this offseason. There's enough healthy skepticism based on the early part of last season. I do think he got better as the season went on. It's funny, I had some Texas A&M fans come in and say, but didn't you see in the last game of the regular season, he completed less than 50% of his passes, less than 200 passing yards. Like, yeah, when they beat you guys, when they beat the previously undefeated playoff team. And no, it wasn't the greatest game in the world, but that was against one of the better defenses they played too. So
and he went off in the bowl game. I don't know how much you care about that. It's a bowl game. Maybe the other team didn't care or whatever people like to say about bowls, but he looked awesome in the bowl game.
Michigan, they had some other stuff going on, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Kind of a busy.
Do you think Biff got the guys ready or what?
I do think Biff got the guys ready. The guys who are still there, I think Biff got them ready. Now, yeah. I think Arch could be better this year. And I do think he grew as last year went on. And getting just piled on may have helped him. And I liked what Kirk said about the mental part of it, because he did get buried, completely buried, and seemed to react fine to that. And I think that's pretty important. And that kind of resiliency will help. But it's hard to pick. And I've got to figure out what my top 10 is going to look like, because there's so much production coming back. There's so many quarterbacks who were really good, productive players. Everybody on your list, other than Sam Leavitt, played a full 2025 season and was highly productive. Sam Leavitt, when healthy, was highly productive.
And has a full season.
Yeah. I mean, you got CJ Carr at number 10, and CJ Carr was insanely accurate and highly efficient last year. He had, I want to say he completed 2/3 of his passes, like 67% of his passes, and then was averaging nine something yards per attempt, which is 9.4 yards per attempt, which ties him for second in the country with Diego Pavia, behind Drew Mestamaker, who, by the way, is going from North Texas to Oklahoma State and hopes to revive Oklahoma State with Coach Eric Morris. Like, there's so many good players coming back. It's insane.
Yeah. I will give you a little piece of advice as you embark onto yours. I took the beat for you. Put CJ Carr in the top 3. Just save yourself the.
I am definitely considering that, because I don't think CJ Carr was relied upon to be a prolific passer last year. If you look, he only threw the ball 293 times, which is the least of most of these people that you see at the top of the quarterback list, because their offenses required them to throw a lot more. But when he did throw the ball, he was highly efficient. Like I said, second in the nation in yards per attempt. So I'm excited about CJ Carr. Well, I think, and he's got a good line in front of him again this year. Like, he's gonna be protected. So I'm excited to see what he does.
You know, outside of the typical, you didn't have my favorite quarterback high enough stuff that you get no matter what you do with these lists, the most blowback I did get was where I had CJ Carr. And I just want to remind people that when there's 130 plus quarterbacks in college football, the difference between 10-4 or 10-6 or even 10-1 is kind of negligible. But that seems to be the one place where most people were displeased with the list. And I'm very curious how you feel about that. And you don't have to tell me now, but I'm sure I'll find out here in the next few days when you put yours together. But I think it's a pretty functional list, because it's harder to quibble with an opinion like this when everybody on the list has already proven to be productive. Like,
that's what makes it so hard to parse the list. Like, can I give you a blind resume?
Sure.
All right. 66.3% completion percentage, 9.3 yards per attempt, 28 TDs, 7 INTs for quarterback 1. 65.8 completion percentage, 9.2 yards per attempt, 24 TDs, 10 interceptions for quarterback 2. Both of those guys had really good years. Who you got? Which one you want?
Put the list back up.
One of these guys is on your list, and one of these guys is not on your list.
Okay. It's going to be very hard for me to do this, so I can take a blind stab at it, or you can just tell me.
All right. So the second one I named, or the second one I read the stats for, that is Jaden Mayava, USC quarterback, who you have at number 7.
Okay.
The first one is Byram Brown, who played for USF, who will be Auburn's starting quarterback this season, and who was highly productive. And oh, by the way, ran for 1,000 yards too.
Byram Brown is the type of player that could make us all look stupid again.
See, this is where I'm worried, because like I tried to project with Lagway and with Manning last year, but I didn't project Mendoza. I missed Mendoza. I don't want to miss this year's Mendoza. Byram Brown has kind of the ingredients to be maybe that. And
that's the thing too. You're going to have, in order to be correct in doing that, you're going to have somebody in there or a few people in there that are going to make everybody in the current moment call you an idiot.
Yeah.
And it has to age well. And I kind of did that.
Fernando being there, I think a few people would have been like, oh, the guy Sig got from Cal.
Yeah.
Good choice. Most people are like, you're insane. Cal was 6-6 last year.
JKS could be on the list next year. He's not on here. Kevin Jennings.
Yeah, JKS's efficiency is not as good as some of these other guys, but Kevin Jennings is another one I think that is.
Yeah, I mean JKS puts on laser shows though.
That's the problem. Like you get into that habit. Now JKS is more accurate than say like DJ Lagway was his freshman year, and JKS could get better. So JKS makes the wow throws.
So it's funny you bring that up though, because my list is about projecting next year, and always will be. I'll always project forward, but I think that there might have been a correction or even an overcorrection on relying on already proven production, because last year I was so willy-nilly on ignoring it, and it blew up in my face. Now I think I've got a very it'll be very hard for the list to look as stupid as last year's list, because these guys are all going to be good, and it doesn't really seem like a hot take to expect it. But that's why, if you look at number 5 here, Andy, like Josh Hoover might not have made this list had he not gone to Indiana. Yeah. But I anticipate that Josh Hoover is going to have a very productive year. And people are like, why is Hoover on the list? Well, it's like, because Josh Hoover had better stats at TCU last year than Fernando had at Cal 2 years ago. Yeah. And there's a lot of names that are not on this list that are still going to be in college next year that will make things interesting. So, I mean, like Damon Williams. Damon Williams,
he's another accurate, explosive passer. Bryce Underwood. Now, do we think he was poorly coached last year? Will he be more competently coached this year?
Yeah.
These are all questions that need to be answered. So it's going to be Marcel Reed. Took his team to the playoff. This is going to be fascinating because
Malik Washington at Maryland.
Yep, a lot of really good quarterbacks coming back. A lot of very productive quarterbacks coming. It's the same reason why we're talking about there not being anybody for the teams to draft in the NFL, other than Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson.
Forget the NFL. More for us, right? John Mateer's not on my list.
John Mateer, who was on our list last year and who took Oklahoma to the playoff.
Wild times, dude. Wild times. I'm looking at some names here. I mean, Noah Fafita at Arizona has been pretty good at times.
Yeah. Noah Fafita was excellent last year, was excellent as a freshman. It was his sophomore year that wasn't good. Yeah. So this is going to be a very tough task for me. You're already getting hammered for it. You're going to get hammered even more for not having Chambliss on there, but that is not your fault because that just happened. All right, Ari, our next question comes from Jeff. I know the NCAA has reasons for doing it, but I've never been a fan of successful FCS teams having to sit out postseason play as they transition to FBS. North Dakota State should not have to sit, but whatever. Here's my question. Players went to North Dakota State knowing they would have the opportunity to potentially play in the postseason and compete for championships. The transfer portal is currently closed, but do you think any North Dakota State players would challenge for their right to transfer since they had those opportunities taken away from them? Do you think they would have a chance of winning? So let's start with the first part of it. If you didn't know, when a team moves from the FCS to the FBS, they're not allowed to participate in the postseason for the first 2 years. Now, if there are not enough eligible bowl teams, they can slip into a spot in a bowl, but they can't compete for their conference championship. Theoretically, you wouldn't be able to make it to the college football playoff. Now, this next year, the language in the college football playoff contract as it currently sits, but it might change, is that you don't have to be the highest ranked champ in the group of 6 conferences to make it to the CFP. But my friend Ross Dellinger, who I co-host the College Sports Inquirer podcast at Yahoo with, thinks that might change, that they may, again, reinstate that championship requirement. So that would mean even if North Dakota State's the best team in the Mountain West, they'd be out of luck because they can't win the championship. That's because they're banned from the postseason, banned from a championship game.
It's a stupid rule. It makes no sense.
It is stupid. If you can move up and be better than the teams in the division you moved into, then why shouldn't you reap the rewards of that? So New Mountain West, Northern Illinois, UTEP, Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, San Jose State, UNLV, Wyoming, North Dakota State. New Mexico is going to be good with Jason Eck next year. Dan Mullen, very good coach at UNLV, had his team in the conference championship game this year. But no more Boise State. They're gone. Like, there's no reason North Dakota State can't come in and be competitive with this bunch right off the bat.
Yeah. There's something I hate more in life than rules that don't make any sense, or rules for the sake of having rules. I don't really even understand the genesis of it, Andy. Like what? Like I
think it came about in the early 2000s, and I think the thinking was they didn't want these FCS programs that maybe had one really special class to just try to jump up, reap the rewards of that for a year, and then jump back down. They didn't want, and they also didn't want teams to jump up without being fully prepped for it, get slaughtered, and then just jump back down. And I don't think that's a problem for North Dakota State. It certainly wasn't a problem for James Madison when they transitioned. And James Madison fought this rule and lost. In 2023, they were 10-0, still petitioning the NCAA to be like, hey, we're good enough to win the Sun Belt here.
I don't think that either of the things that you said.
It's basically the last time Kurt Cignetti lost at anything. I
don't think anything that you said in terms of reasons the rule was made was ever in danger of ever even happening. Like, it's also not a good reason. It's a stupid reason. Like, if you're good enough to jump from FCS to FBS and be good immediately, what's the problem? You're good enough to stay and you can do it again.
Yeah.
And if you were going to plan on going right back down, like, nobody goes up and, like, it's like moving into a nice house and you're like, it's too big, I'm going to go back to the other house. Like, it's like everybody wants to go up and be bigger and better. Like, I don't know. I feel like removing the opportunity to athletes who are helping their program move up a level is like you're taking away rights from somebody that isn't doing anything wrong. Like, it just seems like off. And I hope that they come to a solution to this. And honestly, I'm not always just like, enter the portal or whatever. But, like, if you are a player whose goal was to try to win a conference championship game or to make the playoff or do any of those things, and you wanted to pursue those, I think that the student athlete who wasn't in the meetings that made these decisions happen and are being penalized unjustly for things that they had no control over should be able to move if they want to. But I think the spirit of the question, or the first half of the question, is more interesting, which is, why does this stupid rule exist? And maybe they'll change it.
Yeah, change it. Just change it now. Like, and North Dakota State's AD told CBS Sports he's going to challenge it. And good, challenge it. As far as transfer portal stuff, I don't think you're going to get any takers on that. I even if you opened it, my guess is the Bison want to stay together and play in the Mountain West and prove they can win at a higher level. Mm-hmm. That's probably where their team is at. But I'm glad that they're going to challenge the rule. I hope they win, because there's no good reason for it. It's a stupid rule. Just get rid of it. You can't defend it. I'm sorry you made it. I'm sorry you wasted your time typing it up. Just get rid of it. You don't need it.
Good rule for life would be no need for rules that have no purpose. That's a good rule for life.
Yes. Yeah. Who are you protecting here? Are you protecting New Mexico and UNLV? They don't need protecting. They can protect themselves. They will get to play North Dakota State.
I don't know what it is about Thursday, February 12th and Friday, February 13th, but the last 24 hours, I have been screaming at people about various subjects about the merits of competition and the spoils of winning. And it's just like, why am I explaining this to people?
It's Friday the 13th. That's all I can think of.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, Ari, we are going to break down the Trinidad Chambliss decision. We also have we did a video on Thursday night breaking that down. If you didn't get to see that, or if you're listening in podcast form, you get to hear that after Dear Andy and Dear Ari. But we do have one more question, and we're going to have some fun with this one, even though it's based on a pretty sad topic. So it's from Matt, who, like me, a child of the late 70s, who came of age in the 90s, and obviously James Vanderbeek was in a lot of stuff, but especially one little football movie that we all love. This is from Matt. Andy and Ari, the tragic passing of James Vanderbeek from colorectal cancer at the age of 48 has me thinking about a lot of things, from the profound to the supercilious. On the latter end of that, as I'm watching Varsity Blues, I can't help but admire how great the West Canaan Coyotes uniforms look. They pair royal blue with baby blue, an unbeatable color combination that far too few teams in sports have. Maybe none. I can't think of any. UNC comes close, but they use dark blue. The uniforms are all class with a drop shadow for the numbers, a staple of the 90s, and a Georgia-like tricolor stripe on the breeches. The helmet uses the stripe pattern of the Bills and the Redskins from the era, and altogether, it's a great look. They are much better than the mostly awful uniforms we generally get from made-up football teams in football movies. Are they the best? I think they are. So he wants us to rank fictional football uniforms. I will let you do all sports if you'd like. I am going to stick to fictional football uniforms, but Matt also wants to follow up with this. I want to end my question today with a plea, especially to men, as women are constantly marketed to get checked for cancer, but men almost never are. Get blood tested for cancer yearly. Don't wait until you're 50. If your family has a history of cancer, don't even wait until you're 40. If caught early, many cancers have an excellent survival rate. Get tested. Save your own life. God bless James Vanderbeek's friends and family in their time of sorrow, and may his memory be a blessing. So, yeah, R.I.P. James Vanderbeek, Jonathan Moxon in Varsity Blues. Spoiler alert, I am very much in agreement with Matt about those uniforms, but I do want to go through our list. We did a top 5, and mine are all fictional football teams. Ari, I believe you went all sports. But I will start with number 5. The Gotham City University uniforms, and I wish I could have seen more of these. So if you're watching in YouTube form, there's a photo of the Gotham City University uniform. So I believe Zack Snyder filmed an entire football scene for Batman versus Superman that featured Gotham City University, which is where Cyborg played, by the way. But in the actual theatrical cut of the movie, I think we only see a snippet of this as a couple of cops are watching it on TV in one scene. But these uniforms are spectacular. Like, so much detail went into these things. Yeah, what they ended up being on screen.
Something you would almost see in the Army-Navy game. Sick.
Yes. Yeah, they look great. So that is your number 5 fictional football uniform. All right, what do you got?
Mine is the from the movie Dodgeball, the Average Joe's uniforms, but not the Average Joe's uniforms that you guys are thinking, which are the yellow,
the mostly gold. See, I was gonna say I thought the Global Gym Purple Cobras had better uniforms than the Average Joe's.
They had awesome uniforms. But I was actually going for the ball and chain ball gag ones that they got.
The alternate unis, the originals. Yes.
No, but like I am a sucker, much like you guys are with the baby blue and blue. By the way, shout out North Carolina. Wear the navy blue jerseys with the baby blue accents more often. They're gorgeous. I'm a sucker for yellow and red, which is why I love USC's uniforms. And the Average Joe's dodgeball uniforms are pretty fire.
Yeah. So number 4 for me, I am going to go with the Blue Mountain State Goats. The Blue Mountain State Goats. This is a show I came to very late. I just watched it this past year when my 16-year-old started binging it on Netflix. And so I have watched all the seasons of Reacher starring Alan Smithson, who is just the most jacked dude in the universe now. He played star linebacker Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State, which, okay, if you've only watched Reacher, he's this very stoic dude who just goes around kicking people's asses. He is a nut job in Blue Mountain State. He is constantly screaming like this. There is an entire episode based around something that happened in a practice involving somebody's thumb in Thad Castle. You will die laughing. But these uniforms are really awesome. The goat logo on the helmet is absolutely spectacular.
A lot of these fictional football uniforms and logos that come up with these universities actually would be really badass logos in real life. So,
the Blue Mountain State Uni, I could totally see that in the new Mountain West or in new Pac-12.
Yeah, New York Knicks colors, gotta love it. Okay, my number 4, Andy. People my age, people like me anyway, had a basketball jersey to the pool phase in their 20s. So I bought all the TV basketball uniforms on what's the Alibaba? It was like $12. It takes 7 months to get to you, but you eventually got them. So my number 4 is the Bel Air Academy Carlton Banks yellow home jersey.
You had the Carlton. I was going to ask you if you got the Carlton or the Will.
No,
the Carlton's
Carlton.
The superior one.
Yeah, of course. The Banks on the back said Bel Air at the top, number in the middle of the belly, like any good basketball uniform, and then Academy on the bottom. There's a picture. Number 25 is a superior number to 14 as well. And who wouldn't want to be Carlton? So those are really sleek uniforms, and that was a great episode of one of the best sitcoms of all time.
Oh, tremendous. Number 3 for me, I'm going to the world of television again. Also, the Dillon Panthers from the Friday Night Lights TV show. Now, the Friday Nights movie, of course, follows the great Buzz Bissinger book, and it's the Permian High School Panthers, the real Permian uniforms in the movie that are black with the white helmet and
which are great uniforms, by the way.
They're fantastic uniforms, but they're not fictional. They're real. Yeah. So the Dillon Panthers are the fictionalized version of it. They went blue, but they have the kind of the time, early 2000s piping and striping, and it's just a beautiful high school uniform. And I loved watching Coach Taylor and Mrs. Coach Taylor and Matt Saracen and
that
Smash.
Was a tremendous show, except for like the 3rd season plot where Landry,
the season where someone murdered somebody in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I felt like wasn't that like a last ditch effort to try to get the season extended or something?
They were always on the verge of getting canceled. So I think they tried to take a few chances. Yeah,
that chance didn't pan out, but ultimately didn't really impact the show. And I think you could make the straight face argument that was one of the top 10 shows ever made, especially for a sports fan.
Well, and remember Jesse Plemons, the guy who played Landry, it winds up being an incredible actor. He had a great season of Fargo, by the way.
Yeah, amazing season of Fargo.
Yeah. So maybe they were like, we got one of the best young actors in Hollywood. Let's give him something dramatic to and have him kill somebody in a parking lot.
He also ended up killing somebody in Fargo, and then I think in real life ended up marrying Kirsten Dunst, who was his.
That's correct. His co-star in Fargo.
Great
Good job, Jesse Plemons.
Yeah. I mean, I saw Bring It On when I was in high school. I got the blood pumping a little bit,
or the Rancho Toro Cucamonga. I can't remember what the name of the high school is. Rancho Carne. Yeah. The Rancho Carne High School Toros are that's your
fingers, Andy. These are spirit fingers. I watched that movie a million times when I was a kid.
Thank you, Sparky Plasky. All right, you're number 3.
Flint Tropics basketball uniform from Semi-Pro. I cannot stop laughing at just like the play on the location.
It's a great jersey.
Flint, Michigan, and Tropical. I think those are but it's just so funny. And that movie is really hilarious. And I know that it's not one of the ones that Will Ferrell will be remembered by for the rest of his life. But if you have not seen this movie, it's certainly worth watching. And of course, I don't have the white one. I have the turquoise home version of this. Jackie Moon, number 33. Really cool uniform.
Oh, yeah. It was spectacular. Okay. I am going to go for my number 2 with the Eastern State Timberwolves from the program. If you grew up at a certain age playing football, this was your favorite movie for at least a time of your life. I love the program so much. Starting defense, place at the table. Latimer, you had Alvin Mack, Eagles upper hero, Okie Thunder Lion. hit him so hard his girlfriend dies. Kill everybody. What a great movie that was. But the uniforms were spectacular. They're kind of based on Florida State a little bit with the jerseys, but then they had the Timberwolf logo on the helmet and a little bit different striping pattern.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was so good. And they played against real teams. Like they played against Iowa, they played against Mississippi State. It was so cool.
Yeah. Didn't in the Waterboy they played against Iowa too, I remember. Iowa's a good opponent in football movies. I will say this too, fun fact, Dwayne Davis, the actor who played Alvin Mack, had a son named Wyatt Davis who played at Ohio State on the offensive line when I was on the beat. And people used to ask him if he was as profane in practice as Alvin Mack was. Before
you joined the podcast, we had Dwayne Davis on to talk about his role as Alvin Mack and also his role as Featherstone in Necessary Roughness, which is, I think, the greatest college football movie ever made. Yes, the program was my favorite for a time, but Necessary Roughness then jumped back above it because it is.
I haven't seen the program in a long time, and I've never seen Necessary Roughness, so I need to. No,
we need to have an off-season watch along.
I'll watch it. I'm always looking for shows to watch when Britt's out of town and stuff. So I'll check that out. But
we need to have an off-season watch along. But yeah, but yes, he plays so Dwayne Davis was a tight end at Iowa, and so he went a little bit bigger to play Alvin Mack. He went a little bit thinner to play Featherstone, the receiver who could not catch in Necessary Roughness. He was like lightning fast, always got open but couldn't catch. He also was one of Steven Seagal's helpers in Under Siege. And Steven Seagal's like, stay safe out there, buddy. Walks off to another part of the boat, and Dwayne Davis's character immediately gets killed.
Wyatt Davis, his son, played in the NFL too. So he had good genes. It was a convincing actor. Okay.
What's your number two?
My number two is a layup. And it's the Mighty Ducks uniforms in the movie Mighty Ducks. And you see this jersey all the time in the wild. People still wear this. Great color combination and elite level logo. Like, hockey jerseys, I think, are really beautiful. And this one really does it for me. And of course, I was called Goldberg throughout high school, so I have a soft spot for it.
It is a beautiful uniform. And the actual Mighty Ducks have occasionally worn this like the original Mighty Ducks 1 version, because I know in the Mighty Ducks 2 they go to the Anaheim Mighty Ducks jersey, like the Robo Duck, but I know they've worn this every once in a while, and that's the thing of beauty right there.
Yeah. And the real one is awesome. That's one of the best logos in sports. And
were you an Adam Banks or a Charlie Conway guy?
Charlie Conway.
Of course you were. You're not a cake eater.
Great movie.
What's your number one?
My number one
finish with a football
is the Milwaukee Bears from basketball. And I don't know if you've seen that movie recently, but it really is one of the funnier movies ever made. And I don't think they could ever make it now, but it was really incredible. And I got to say, like, the basketball short baseball jersey look, which some kids at my high school used to rock back in 2003. I love the royal blue and red color combination. And I love that the Dodgers have kind of a similar deal going on where they've got blue lettering in the script Dodgers across the chest and then the red numbers on the belly. That is a color combination that is not used in football very often. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
Royal blue and red. Like the Oilers were baby blue and red, but you don't see it
the most famous royal blue and red is the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah. I don't see it much in football.
The Quebec Nordiques were royal blue and red. All right. My last one, number one, of course, I agree with Matt. The West Canyon Coyotes, Varsity Blues, the best fictional football uniforms ever created. Look at that helmet.
Stunning.
Look at that helmet.
Great logo, great color combination.
The drop shadow, as Matt pointed out, just on point for the 90s. You had those 49ers 90s throwbacky ones that when Dion played for them that had the drop shadow. Everything about that uniform is beautiful. In fact, I don't know. Maybe I will go as Tweeter or Billy Bob or Jonathan Moxon for Halloween this year.
I'll do Billy Bob. You can be Tweeter.
Okay.
I give it a 10.
I get to be a slot receiver. I don't
Yeah.
think I can credibly play a slot receiver, but we'll try.
You can pick whoever you want. Tweeter was the man.
Of course he was. He was awesome in
And your number one crush.
that's Jimmy Kahn. That's James Kahn from the program and also The Godfather. But James Kahn's son, Scott.
And Allie Larder's in that movie, who I think is your number one crush of all time, right? Am I right about that?
She is up there. She is up there. And I do love that her character in Landman is essentially the 40-something-year-old version of Darcy from Varsity Blues.
Yeah, and Darcy also blessed very many men with the invention of the whipped cream bikini. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm saying thank you. No woman's ever given me the whipped cream bikini. So, like, I don't know if you've had the fortune of doing that, but I'm assuming that some people have gotten it and it didn't exist before I saw that. With the cherries as the, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, it's listen, I was on a date at that movie, not my wife. I hadn't met her yet. But yeah, that was a little tough because you're trying not to react.
Oh, you got to play it cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But in my mind, I'm like, what is going on here? Yes, it was that was spectacular. But I'm with you, Matt.
The popcorn bucket.
Exactly. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, James Vanderbeek. All right, Ari. For those who missed last night's reaction to the Trinidad Chambliss ruling, we break it all down here in emergency show fashion. And we'll take you into the weekend with Trinidad Chambliss winning in court against the NCAA. You hear the sirens, you know what that means. It's an emergency show. Trinidad Chambliss's injunction has been approved, paving the way for him to potentially play for Ole Miss in 2026. And Ari Wasserman, we are all otolaryngologists now.
Yeah, your messed up brain already knew what the name of the doctor was. You could just said ENT specialist, but you had to show us all how smart you are. I love your brain. That was wild. It kind of felt like I was watching My Cousin Vinny, but like in real life setting. And we finally got to a ruling here. So, that's a really significant thing. And we've got a lot to unpack here.
We do. This case, again, different from Charles Bediako, which was pointed out in the courtroom when the NCAA tried to say it was like Charles Bediako. Different from Joey Aguilar, and he's got a hearing in Knoxville tomorrow. And by the way, the NCAA attorneys left before the ruling was read in this case.
I don't blame them.
Probably because they had to get to Knoxville. Yes, this was very clear that this was going this way. I think when the judge was questioning Trinidad Chambliss, when Trinidad Chambliss was on the stand, that it felt like it was going this way. And so this is a little bit different though. But let's get the basics out of the way first. So Trinidad Chambliss sued the NCAA in state court in Mississippi, asking for an injunction saying, hey, the NCAA violated its contract with me and Ole Miss by not fairly adjudicating my request for a medical hardship waiver. And basically he was requesting a waiver for 2022 when he was at Ferris State. So he's a freshman at Ferris State in 2021. He redshirts. He does not dress out for a single game at Ferris State in 2022. He then plays some in 2023. He's their starter in 24, leads them to a Division II title, and then transfers to Ole Miss, where he was supposed to be a backup, but ends up being a star and helps the Rebels get to the college football playoff semifinals. So basically, they sent in all this medical documentation from that time at Ferris State, that year, 2022, and said, here's the reason why he couldn't play. He had severe tonsillitis and enlarged tonsils, and it was causing respiratory problems and all this other stuff. And Ferris State was very cooperative with Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss in this case, and said, here's the records. Here's what we had. And the NCAA basically said, yeah, but you didn't apply for it back then, so no. And denied the waiver request, then it denied the appeal of the waiver request, and that's what led to this hearing today.
Yeah, I'm still unclear on why or how it wasn't submitted back then. if it was an oversight or I don't know what else, but like you said today on today's show, Andy, like there's plenty of documentation that this isn't just some made up ailment that they just came up with at the end. I think there's like this notion right now that, Trinidad is one of the many people who is just trying to scheme an extra year. And, quite frankly, I don't really understand why he didn't just go to the NFL, because I think he would have had a pretty good chance of being drafted pretty high. But I don't view this case as something that is kind of like trying to pull one over on people. Like, I think that he was entitled to this extra year, and I'm happy he got it, or I'm happy he at least got the injunction to stall this case.
I think the concern from the NCAA is there's going to be copycats, and there will be copycats. As the lawyers on Twitter pointed out, the legal strategy will be copied pretty thoroughly, where you make it a contract dispute in state court rather than an antitrust case in federal court, which is a little bit trickier. And you've seen the NCAA win some of those. So they will copy that, but it's going to be hard to copy these circumstances. Somebody who's so good that his school would be willing to go to the wall for him to get that extra year, who redshirted and then did not dress for a single game in their second year on campus. Like, how many people are actually going to fit that profile?
Not that many. But I also thought too, the discussion too about acting in good faith and the NCAA trying its best to usher in young people, and they have a responsibility to do right by them, was an interesting approach too.
Well, and that's the NCAA has always said, where we're for the student athlete. And the interesting way the Chambliss attorneys framed it was that it's like an insurance company that just as a basis of policy just denies claims. That's what William Liston and Tom Mars, the attorneys for Chambliss, that's the way they characterized it during the hearing today. It's also the way they characterize it in their petition, where basically it's deny first, and then you've got to come prove to us why. And they felt like they had proven it, and the NCAA in its written denial basically said, "Oh, we just ignored that, the stuff you gave it. We didn't even bother."
Yeah, it's not something, and I don't feel like this case or this result or this injunction is going to pave the way for the bastardizing of the rules now. Like, I don't think that I view it that way. I think that
this is a different case. Yeah, this is a different case. Charles Bediako is the case where the former Alabama basketball player who went pro, came back, was playing for Alabama on a temporary restraining order. He was denied the injunction earlier this week. The judge in Tuscaloosa, by the way, denied that injunction. And one of the things he said was, this will send everybody who's similarly situated running to the courthouse at, whatever school they want to go to, nearest whatever school they want to go to. And the judge didn't want to be the one who broke the seal on that. And it was interesting because one of the NCAA's attorneys was arguing in this hearing today in Mississippi that if the judge granted the injunction, that it was going to cause all these copycats, everybody's going to run to the courthouse. And he mentioned the Bediako case. He said the judge in the Bediako case did not want to set that precedent. And the judge goes, "You mean the case with the fellow who went to the G League and came back?" And the lawyer's like, "Yeah." And the judge is like, "So a completely different case. It has nothing to do with this case." And the NCAA lawyer's like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay."
It was nothing alike. Where we all stand on the pro back to college thing. I think it's asinine, and I'm happy that one was resolved the way that it was. But this one, I mean, like, I actually, like, with a full heart can believe the story that they were saying. Like, he had respiratory issues.
When I saw tonsillitis, I think I was like, this might be a little shaky.
I don't know. I mean, I've never had tonsillitis. Have you?
I was born without tonsils. I am the next step in human evolution. I don't know if you knew that about me.
Yeah, a wild fun fact about Andy that I had no idea. Like, is that like normal?
The doctor looked when I was a kid and was like, "Oh, when did you get your tonsils out?" I'm like, "Never got my tonsils out." Oh, he's like, "You must have been born without them." So,
do you have a gallbladder?
We'll see. Haven't had that area x-rayed yet, but no, it's interesting because you and me and producer River were talking about this right before we went live, because he didn't actually get the tonsils taken out till after the 2024 season. And I'm thinking maybe it did make a big difference, because like he was good at Ferris State in 2024, but he was way better at Ole Miss in 2025 against much better competition than he was at Ferris State even. So maybe it did make that big of a difference. I don't know. I am not an otolaryngologist, nor did I stay at Holiday Inn Express last night.
I can imagine, though, if you have a hard time breathing, you are losing weight or not able to eat as much, and you're not sleeping well, how that could impede on your ability to perform in the game of football.
Agreed.
And listen, we're burying the lead. We're almost 10 minutes into this video. Lane Kiffin's first game at LSU in the SEC is at Ole Miss in September.
Yes. Against
let's talk about
his
football.
quarterback. By the way, there's an alternative universe. There's a parallel universe where Lane Kiffin convinces Trinidad Chambliss to go with him rather than Trinidad Chambliss deciding to stay with Pete Golding and Ole Miss, where LSU is the one fighting this fight.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I do wonder how things would have gone had he just had another year and this fight wasn't ahead of him, because they didn't meet. And I read the quotes that Trinidad said that it would feel wrong turning his back on Ole Miss. And by the way, buddy, that was the right thing to say. But
you're going to be beloved there, forever.
Yeah, play the hits. But if he knew he had another year, I wonder if things would have been different. I don't know. It's complete speculation on my part, but it seemed like because there was a murky road ahead of him, the path of least resistance to him playing again. Like, I wonder too, even if had he decided he wanted to transfer, if the case would have been the same, or if, he might have had to sue in another state even, you don't know how it's going to go. So I do think that everything that I saw today, all the things that I read and listening to that judge go on and on for over an hour, they at least, I'm like a no bullcrap kind of guy. Like, I feel completely fine with this, and I think it was the just decision. Do you?
I think it's fine, because this is one of those things where you've got guys getting a 9th year of eligibility. There are people who've had injuries and situations that cause them to not be able to play. And maybe this really caused him to not be able to play. He's not going to be trying to do this again. Or if he is, he's probably not going to get it. I think this case and the Joey Aguilar case are really different. I thought Trinidad Chambliss had a good chance to win. I'm not sure about Joey Aguilar's case, because he's basically saying, please ignore my junior college time and only count my NCAA time. Andrew in the chat, did Chambliss make a comment about being able to practice that year? Saw that in X. No idea if it's legit or the context. Yeah, no one was disputing that he practiced during 2022. Everybody admits to that. But he never dressed for a game. And basically what the NCAA people said was it was because he wasn't good enough. And the Ferris State people and the doctor were saying he might have been limited medically, and that's why he couldn't get on the field. The judge seemed to side with them. Now let us see Judge Robert Whitwell, who, by the way, read his ruling in its entirety, which the lawyers tell me is to make it more appeal proof. Basically get all of the things he wanted to say on the record. And so that is why he read his ruling for, I believe, over an hour. But this is the end of it.
Conclusion. For the above reasons, this court decrees in favor of Trinidad Chambliss.
Yes.
And grants his request for preliminary injunction relief and preliminary enjoins to NCAA from prohibiting Trinidad Chambliss from practicing, playing, otherwise participating on the University of Mississippi collegiate football team during the 2026-27 academic year. Trinidad Chambliss has demonstrated, based on the evidence presented, that he is entitled to an additional year of eligibility to the University of Mississippi, and the NCAA has failed in its argument to withhold that right. Further, Trinidad Chambliss has proven there exists a substantial likelihood he will prevail on the merits in the final hearing to be set at a later date. The injunction is necessary to prevent irreparable harm in Trinidad. These are the factors that have to be proved. The threatened injury to Trinidad Chambliss outweighs the harm, and the injunction might cause NCAA.
All right, that judge is not breaking up, like he's not crying over the ruling. He is an Ole Miss law grad, in case you're asking. We had that question in the chat. Ole Miss law grad, Delta State undergrad, fighting Okra.
Yeah, people typically root for their undergrad more than their grad, right?
I mean, I think he roots for Ole Miss, dude. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, I'm happy it took a while if it means that we don't have to do this again in a few months. Like, I'm just like, let's get the decision down, and now let's let the lawyers just to spread this thing out as long as possible, and hopefully we don't have to revisit it. But we're going to be doing it again tomorrow, right? So
the NCAA will appeal this ruling, but that is again why he read the entire ruling, out loud into the court record, because it makes it more appeal proofed. Michael in the chat should have recused himself. Ridiculous breach of ethics 101. Michael, I don't know how to break this to you. Most of the judges in Northwest Mississippi went to Ole Miss Law School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to find, like, I mean, is there like a duty to find one that has no tie to the institution?
No, there's not. Then they did this on purpose. But the judge in the Charles Bediako case labels himself an Alabama fan and did not do the thing that helped the University of Alabama.
I know, it's just everybody's just like always like wanting to find the conspiracy and everything. So you don't need
to find this one. This one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
They did this on purpose. His lawyers did it strategically. That is why they did it. They wanted a friendly judge, and they got one.
Yeah.
So,
but I still don't feel like anybody pulled a fast one on anyone here. I think that like he had a very
right, and I don't think you can copy this, because how many guys actually wind up being this good this far down the road who were not good enough to play at all their second year on campus after redshirting?
I mean, it is kind of a crazy career arc. I mean, we've
unbelievable
talked about it a lot during the season before this was even an issue, but the fact of the matter is that like it's hard to picture somebody who, frankly could go into the NFL right now and get drafted pretty high, not being good enough under any circumstance not to play in his second year at Fair State. Like those two things don't really equate with one another, which makes me more willing to believe that he had a medical issue that caused him from playing his best, or maybe even believe what you were joking about, which is he can breathe better and now he got better at football because of it. Like
I don't think I'm actually joking, dude.
Yeah.
Like he was better in the SEC than he was in Division II.
Also because the SEC soft.
Oh, is that?
I'm joking. Oh. I'm kidding.
You've been battered by Alabama fans today, and I get you're a little.
No, it wasn't so bad. I've had worse.
A little angry.
No. I was just kidding. I was making a joke that the SEC isn't as tough as Division II. Obviously, it's a joke.
But I do think that's another crazy part of this story. He does get the tonsillectomy, and all of a sudden he's Superman in the SEC. So maybe, who knows? But
now you have a quarterback list that you have coming up.
Oh yeah,
and we have a lot of previewing to do about the SEC and the Big Ten and in the national championship picture. And damn it, if this isn't a pretty significant movement on all fronts of those things.
Unbelievable. Like, where do you put Ole Miss now in your pecking order in the SEC? Because I think if it's Deuce Knight starting for Ole Miss, we're feeling a little bit different. But we know what Trinidad Chambliss can give them. I mean, the last time we saw Trinidad Chambliss, he was pushing Miami to the brink in the semifinal.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it makes them much more willing. I mean, much better. There's no question about it. The way he played in the playoff, Andy, he blew me away in the playoff. Blew me away.
That's the thing. He made magic. I mean, very like some kind of Johnny Manziel-esque, but I'm trying to think of a more accurate comp. Johnny Manziel is actually a good comp because there's a lot of just no, yes in his game.
Yeah. And the yes feels pretty good. I even like how they snuck in a question about the final play of the last game they played. in there somewhere. And then he said, yeah, I thought it was PI, but it's hard to call in that situation. But you never know. I think,
well, it's a good chance to get it on the court record.
But Trinidad will be on your list. He would have been on mine if he was eligible.
I think he will be. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, how do you leave him off?
You don't.
He was one of the best 10 quarterbacks in college football last year, for sure.
Yeah, you don't, and you won't. So yeah, no, but I am, through all the drama aside, I'm excited to see what happens with Joey Aguilar on Friday. But I am completely at peace with what happened here today.
I just don't think it's going to create the wave of copycats that everybody else does. Like, you can try the same legal strategy, but if you don't have the same set of circumstances, you're going to struggle with this. This fell into the bucket of a very common NCAA situation of medical hardship waiver denied. It's not just, hey, ignore that I played this year in junior college, or, hey, I know I went pro, but now I want to come back. This is a different circumstance, different situation. Yeah. And I doubt very seriously you're going to find many players who match that set of circumstances.
Yeah, well, the other question, too, is how does the NCAA rule on medical waivers moving forward, just to save themselves time and money in future lawsuits?
I have said, and I don't know if they are worried about if they do this, that it'll create even more lawsuits, and I understand where they're coming from. I think they should do 5 to play 5.
Just
no waivers whatsoever. There are no waivers. If you get injured, it sucks. Bad luck happens. But you get 5 years to play 5, and that's it.
I agree with you completely. I think that's rational, and it takes all this extracurricular grab ass off the table.
Right. It would have eliminated this one. There would have been no question. He would have appealed, or he would have applied, and they'd be like, there are no waivers. Enjoy the NFL, sir.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, but hey, congrats to Ole Miss. I don't know what Pete Golding is going to be having for dinner tonight, but I bet you it'll be a steak. He
may have been at El Jefe. So this courthouse was in Pittsburgh, Mississippi. There's a Mexican place across the street called El Jefe. Our friend Ben Garrett. So that video was from Talk of Champions, and our friend Ben Garrett at Ole Miss Spirit. Highly recommended El Jefe. Brad Logan, who works with Ben, highly recommended El Jefe. But we'll close with this. More from our friends at Talk of Champions. This is just after the judge announced his ruling. I don't know if they're celebrating Trinidad Chambliss's pending eligibility or the fact that the judge was finally done reading.
So ordered and judge decree this the 12th day of February 2026. Robert Q. Whitwood, Chancellor. That's the rule of the court.
Greatest episode of Matlock ever saw.
Yeah.
Not really.
God. I still I'm not a lawyer like you, but I feel like I'm getting a good handle on the way things go in a courtroom.
I'm not a lawyer, Ari. I'm an otolaryngologist.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching, by the way. Be sure to subscribe to the On3 YouTube page. Also, we have a show every single day. Andy and Ari on 3, Monday through Friday. New episodes drop at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, we come on when crazy things happen in the sport, like thousands of people sitting there watching a judge talk about tonsils for 4 hours or however long that way. That was a lot longer than 4 hours, actually, the whole day. But lots of tonsil talk. Proud of everybody. College football remains undefeated, because what other sport would inspire people to do that? But yes, we talk about college football every day because it's the greatest sport in the world, and it inspires people to watch judges drone on about tonsils for hours. We'll talk to you soon.